Hey guys, good evening and welcome to BS2 PCG Deck Forger. This is your host, Mark Eom, and for tonight we're going to have another great deck, and this time we're going after the so-called Handlock combo. Okay, so what do we mean by Handlock combo? Well, actually, we're going to try to create a deck tech wherein you're going to be able to paralyze your opponent, okay, by forcing them to discard cards from their hand and at the same time prevent them from drawing, okay, any additional cards further, okay, during the match. And in this particular case, you are now able to build up your offense and defense and at the same time prevent them from doing their own. Okay, so again, welcome to BS2 PCG Deck Order, and this is the Helmut Handlock Deck Tech. Okay, so before we go to our actual playing table, we're going to try to look at our demo box. And this is the demo box that we had from last episode's video. And we're going to try to give you an idea first of how the Helmut Handlock combo will try to work out. So let's try to open this deck box, demo box. Okay, so I'll try to position it here. So as you can see from our previous video, we still had the same 6 decks that we had previously before. So we had the Ultron, okay, and we have the Iron Man deck, we have Luke Cage, we have Lady Death, and we have Thanos, which we have discussed last time. And of course, we're going to try to discuss this time Helmut Simo's Handlock combo deck. So this particular deck revolves around the main character known as Helmut Simo. So Helmut Simo is a Hydra character, and I think he's one of the more underrated main character in the Hydra team. Besides, of course, Madam Hydra, you have the Red Skull, and of course, Helmut Simo again seems a little bit weak because of his 5 health. And he starts the game with 2 attack and 4 defense, all the more that he can help to your cause because of his particular underrated stats, and he also has range. But what I like with this particular main character are his superpowers. And of course, for his first superpower, there is what we call fall before my superior numbers. Okay, so fall before my superior numbers is during the main phase. You can choose a number 1 or higher. So it can be 1, 2, or you can go as high as 9 or 10. Of course, you cannot choose 0. And choose an enemy player to discard a card with that card. Okay? And if they don't have one, they reveal their hand. So in this particular case, this is a good superpower to start, okay, the strategy of your deck by having your opponent discard a certain number of cards. For example, if you are on the first turn and your opponent, okay, is going on his first turn, you can now play, okay, fall before my superior numbers, and of course you can cite, let's say, 1, and he's forced to discard any supporting character card, okay, with 1 cost. Okay, so if you are on the late turn and he goes on the first turn, and okay, you are on the next turn, you can now name, let's say, the number 2, and he will be forced to, okay, discard any, okay, card with that cost, which is 2. And at the same time, if they don't have 1, they get to reveal their card, their hand. Okay. Now, Army of Evil is, of course, the level of power of Helmut Simo, and he needs 11 XP in order to gain. So this may be a little bit more costlier on your part in order for him to gain his second level. But then, when you recruit your Okay, first character each turn, Simo gains XP equal to its cost. I think this is also one setback that we have found with this character, is that the level up condition is a little bit difficult to get a shortcut with, because of course you need to have a 1, a 2, a 3, and 4, and I think you can still level up maybe on the 5th turn, which is a little bit more difficult because you can only gain XP on the first, okay, character that you play with. But again, if you are able to level him up by gaining that 11 XP, then now at least Helmut Sibo will now become a little bit more formidable. Okay, he still has that 5 health, but then again his stats now, okay, goes up to 5 attack and 7 defense. Okay, we still with range. And besides his first superpower, he now gains his second superpower, which is the price of disloyalty. So with the price of disloyalty, during the main, okay, phase, you can pay a red power symbol and gaze an enemy supporting character. Now, if it doesn't share, okay, a team affiliation with your opponent's main character, then you get to KO it instead. So it's a little bit powerful if given the right opportunity, because this is not just like a stun, but you are able to KO actually your opponent's supporting character. Okay, so before we go to my deck teching table, okay, we'll show you what are, okay, the supporting characters, plot twists, equipment that are included in the Helmut Handlock deck. So try to stick with me as we try to go over this Helmut Handlock deck. So Helmut Simo, as we can see, is again a Hydra main character, and he's one of the originals from the Shield vs Hydra expansion. So as we try to focus on this main character, let's try to focus on his picture. You can see that he is a level 1, okay, main character with 2 attack and 4 defense and 5 health. So that is in one thing particular which is not so convincing about Helmut Simo to be used as a main character because of his slightly underrated stats. But I try to use this particular main character because of his superpowers, most especially of course the fall before my superior numbers, which is in itself is already a discarder on its own. So as we can see here, fall before my superior numbers, during the main phase you may choose, okay, a number, it can be 1 or higher, and choose an enemy player to discard a card with that cost. If they don't have one, then they reveal their hand. So this is a good start for this particular deck, the Helmut Handlock deck. And of course, as I have said previously, his Army of Evil is his level up power. So he needs 11 XP to level up, and you can only gain an XP when you recruit your first character each turn. So Simo gains XP equal to its cost. Again, another setback because, okay, you cannot really shortcut this particular kind of level up requirement. But if you are able to do that on the mid-turn, then you are rewarded with Helmut Simo having a much higher stat at 5 attack and 7 defense and gaining the price of disloyalty. So what is the price of disloyalty? So during the main phase, okay, you may pay 1 red power symbol to gaze an enemy supporting character. Okay, and if it doesn't share a team affiliation with the main character on its side, then KO it instead. So it's just like having your very own 4-drop Cosmic Cube. Okay, although it's not removed from the game, but again, you get to KO that character instead. So let's try to go to the main deck itself. So what are okay, the supporting characters that are included with the Helmut Handlock deck. So let's begin with the supporting characters. So the supporting characters, okay, we have first two copies of Yondu. And Yondu is important in this deck because you have to watch out sometimes for those Senator Kelly or other 3-drop or less characters that are a very nuisance to your deck's strategy. So Yondu is from the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he is a 1-drop with 1 attack and 2 defense and 2 health, and he has range. But he is very powerful enough on its own because for a 1-drop, his Yaka Arrow, okay, can stun a supporting character with cost 3 or less by paying 1 red power symbol during the main phase. So it's enough for Yondu to be included in most deck, most especially of course during the onslaught of the appearance of, let's say, the likes of Senator Kelly and all the other 3-drops or below that are very critical to winning the game. And we have also included 4 copies of this particular lady, Nadia from the Inhumans. And Nadia, is a 1-drop, 1 attack, 1 defense character with 1 health. And she has flight. And her Terrigenesis makes Nadia appears. You can exhaust her. And if you do, put 2+1/+1 counters on her. And she has Ferocious, so while in melee combat, Nadia strikes before characters without Ferocious. So later on, Nadia can be integral in your Handlock combo, most especially when she is in tandem with the main girl of this deck, of course, Singularity. So she can grow big enough if you are able to survive her in the late turns so that she can be a very powerful and effective light wall to prevent your Singularity from being attacked. Then we also have 4 copies of her compatriot, and this is of course Captain Swain. So Captain Swain, you have 4 copies of her in your deck, and Captain Swain is also a 1-drop from the Inhumans, and he also has 1 attack, 1 defense, and 1 health. And he has Terrigenesis also. So when Swain appears, you may exhaust her, and if you do, put 2+1/+1 counters on her. But the difference here is Captain Swain has Telepathic Nudge, so when Swain appears, choose a superpower on a supporting character and it costs 1 less symbol to use that power the next time this turn. So later on, you are able to use Swain, of course, in tandem with your Singularity or with your Red Skull in order to give them that 1 power symbol. So later on, we'll try to work on that. And we also have 1 space to be able to use or include this particular creature, and that is the 1-drop Leviathan Twin Drake. So Leviathan Twin Drake is of course from the Leviathan's team, and he is a 2 attack, 2 defense supporting character with 2 health, and he has flight, so again he's a good defender on the front row, and he's 1 of kind, so we can only include 1 of them here in your deck, and he's also a creature, so you cannot put any equipment on this particular character. He has Leviathan Overseer, so Leviathan characters on your side with Comet Fall gain Comet Fall in addition, so it's like twice the Comet Fall when other Leviathans appear if Leviathan Twin Drake is already on your side. And as a Leviathan, characters on your side lose and can't gain numbering, and Leviathan characters on your side pay 1 less power symbol to use their superpowers. But for this particular deck, we're very critical on the first keyword power, and that is Leviathan Overseer, so that your other Leviathans in this deck, once they hit that Comet Fall, they will gain an additional Comet Fall to effectively double the effect. And for our 2-drop, Our first is of course, again, one of my mainstays is I have many copies of this particular character. And one of my favorite for discarding, of course, is Ronan. And Ronan is from the super villains, and he's a 2-drop with 3 attack and 3 defense, and he has 2 health. And his accuse enables you to pay any yellow power symbol, to name any card, and choose an enemy player to reveal their hand and discard each card with that name. So very difficult to use, but then again, you have to understand that Helmut paves the way for the use of your Ronan's accuse. Remember, your Helmut has fall before my superior numbers. So in that case, if you're not able to guess the correct number of the available cards for discarding from your opponent, then he gets to reveal his hand. And in that case, you are now able to guess whatever is the critical card or the name of that critical card from your opponent's hand with Ronan's accuse. So these two go hand in hand in this deck. Now, we have also included 4 copies of Match, because Match is a very good offensive supporting character in any deck. And he is a 2-drop, 4 attack, 1 defense character from the Mutant Resistance team. And he has 1 health with range. And his pirate form, if Match would strike a defender, put -1/-1 counters equal to his attack on that defender instead. So this is important because of course most of your other supporting characters are normally with flight and are positioned in the front row, and at least Match can do the heavy hitting at the back row, most especially if you are able to team attack him, or let's say you are able to use other pumps in order to slowly dwindle down your opponent's front row defenses. Okay, so Match is there. We have 4 copies of him. And we also have our last 2-drop, which is the second of your Leviathans. And this is the Leviathan Demolisher. So the Leviathan Demolisher is a 2-drop Leviathan supporting character with 2 attack and 3 defense and 1 health. Again, he's a one of a kind, so you can only have one of this character in your deck. And again, he's a creature, so you cannot put any equipment on him. And he has Comet Fall, so when the Leviathan Demolisher appears, put a -1/-1 counter on each enemy character. So it's very good in tandem again with your Leviathan Queen Drake, because it will double, or she will double, the effects of the Comet Fall of your Leviathan Demolisher. And besides that, of course, with Leviathan Demolisher, okay, you have the Tectonic Impact. So when Leviathan Demolisher appears, turn an enemy location face down. Okay, so that is also good for trying to hit up on those important locations from your opponent's side of the resource. Okay, and for our 3-drop, we have our first very effective flight wall, and these are 4 copies of Jessica Jones. So again, I think we have discussed Jessica Jones for numerous times already, but Jessica Jones is here because she is the effective flight wall for your Singularity. So Jessica Jones is a 3-drop defenders supporting character with 4 attack and 3 defense and 3 health and flight, and she has stop, so when Jessica gets stunned, you may recover her and she still gains a wound. Again, Jessica Jones is 3-drop, 3 health, so she's effectively the equivalent of 3 supporting characters with flight, though not really high on the defense side, but then her top enables her to flip back again, so you're able to maintain those attacks from the front row in order to protect your Singularity. So she also has psionic protection, so enemy players can't use yellow-based superpowers while Jessica Jones is face up on your side. So speaking of Singularity, so we now go to the main 3-drop or the main supporting character of this deck, and that is Singularity. So again, Singularity is a 3 cost A4 supporting character with 2 attack and 6 defense and 1 health. She has flight, so normally I would like to position her at the back row, protected, because of her pocket dimension. So reaction during the end of your turn, you may pay 1 blue power symbol and remove any number of other face-up characters on your side from the game, but keep all counters on them at the start of your next turn or when Singularity leaves play. Those characters appear on their owner's side with those counters. So I just like to imply that this is removed from the game. So meaning any other characters that appear into the game, okay, at the start of your next turn, will have all their appear powers trigger once again. So those include, of course, the effects like Terrigenesis of Nadia and Captain Swain, the effects of Captain Swain's telepathic nudge, and including the Leviathan's Comet Fall, and even Iron Man's inventive power. So later on, we'll try to piece them all together in order on how to effect the Handlock combo. As another flight wall blocker, we skipped our 4th drop and decided to just use, of course, Miss America. And we have 2 copies of this character in your deck, and again, she's also an A-Force character, and she has 5 health, and with 6 attack and 4 defense and 3 health. Okay, and at the same time, she has flight and tough, just like Jessica Jones. So when Miss America gets stunned, you may recover her. She still gets the wound, but again, she can face up once again. And this is also your second set of frontline blockers in order to help protect your Singularity. And for our 6th drop, we have 3 copies of Iron Man. And Iron Man is here because of his inventive power. At 6 cost, he is an Avenger supporting character with 5 attack and 7 defense and 1 health. He has flight and range, and at the same time has inventive, so when he appears, you may turn one of your face down locations face up. So in addition to all the other set of combos here, like let's say Captain Swain and Singularity, Iron Man helps complete the set needed to effect the Handlock combo. And another one of your 6 drop is the Leviathan Beast. So at 6 cost, he's a Leviathan supporting character with 6 attack and 8 defense with 1 health. Still one of a kind and creature. And he also has Comet Fall, so when Leviathan Beast appears, put -1/-1 counter on each enemy character. And besides that, he also has concussive impact. So when Leviathan Beast appears, you may daze an enemy character. So it's good also to be able to play this before you set up your Handlock combo. If ever you get to go ahead, draw that beast, during the late game. And for 7th drop is the final piece of our Handlock combo, and of course, these are 3 copies of the Red Skull. So the Red Skull is a 7 cost Hydra supporting character, and he is 10 attack and 6 defense with 1 health with range. And his diabolical plan will set in motion all the things that you need to handlock your opponent. Because during the main phase, you may pay a yellow power symbol, and enemy players can't throw cards until your next turn. So this is what will set the lock in place, the Red Skull. And we also have finally not just the Handlock, but also the Resource Lock. And for that, we have included 2 copies of the Omega Iceman. So the Omega Iceman is the 8th drop of your deck, and he's from the Omega team, and he has 18 attack and 1 health with 1 defense with 2 health and range. Since he's your Omega level mutant, you cannot include other Omega level mutants with other names in your deck. And this is the Ice Age. So when you recruit Iceman and at the start of your turn, freeze each enemy location. So let's just try to make that clear again. when you freeze a location, you turn all available locations, okay, sideways, and they cannot, okay, they cannot produce resources. Okay, so those are, okay, what sets this particular, besides the handlock combo, you can help paralyze your opponent's, okay, resources by freezing their location. And we have also included a copy of, for our equipment, we have also included a copy of the nullifier. So this is also needed sometimes, most especially if you're able to put this on one of your character that is able to survive, so that you are able to nullify a particular keyword or superpower from your enemy, from your opponent's enemy characters, and they lose and can gain the power until the nullifier is played. So besides the equipment, we also have 4 copies of shock to the system. And shock to the system, of course, is one of the more effective defensive plot twists in the game. And it is neutral, so you can play it on any opposing character. And during any combat, choose an attacker to get -3, -0. So -3 attack and -0 defense this combat. So good enough to help prevent a stun in one of your critical characters on the side of the board, most especially from your singularity, or let's say if you want your Jessica Jones to survive further in order to help protect your singularity until the next turn. And for that, we also go to our locations, and of course we have around 16 locations for this particular deck. And we can start, of course, with the yellow base power symbol location, and we have 4 copies of Los Angeles. And Los Angeles is here to help, of course, power up your Helmut Simo and your Red Skull. So you pay 1 yellow base power symbol for your Fall Before My superior numbers, and we also have, okay, 4 Red Skull's Diabolical Plan. And of course, we also have red, because we need the red in order to pay for the price of disloyalty. So the price of disloyalty is one of those particular decks, one of those particular superpowers that are very essential during the late game, because it can help KO a powerful enemy supporting character. So we have 4 copies of the Game Preserve in order to pay up for those red power symbols. We have also included blue, because of course we need the blue in order to power up Singularity's, okay, pocket dimension. And we have 4 copies of Laboratory, because we need to pay the Singularity pocket dimension every turn in order to effect, okay, that, okay, particular superpower. And finally, we have 4 copies of Gehenna, because Gehenna here will help to pay up for your Hydra's superpowers, like Helmut Simo's Fall Before My superior numbers, or his The Price of Disloyalty, or even for Red Skull's The Diabolical Plan. And we have 4 copies of it here so that it can help sustain during the game. Okay, so how do we effect the handlock combo? Very simple. I think most of you know it by now. You have, in particular, let's say, Singularity in play, and if you already have, let's say, Captain Swain, and of course you also have Iron Man, and of course the Red Skull. So you just have to be able to pay that blue power symbol in order to put most of your main characters and supporting characters, okay, inside Singularity's pocket dimension. So once they're intact in there, okay, you need Singularity to survive. That's why you already have a Jessica Jones to help protect her. So she will not be included in the pocket dimension, or let's say maybe even Miss America. so that you're able to protect Singularity. So once you are able to make her survive, then out comes Helmut, out comes, okay, Captain Swain, and Captain Swain can help to pay for Singularity's power to be activated again this turn. Then out comes Iron Man to be able to flip, let's say, a yellow base location or even a blue base location in case both ways, so, whatever you need to put in that particular order. But then once Red Skull comes out, then you're able to pay that yellow power symbol, then enemy players can throw cards until your next turn. So again, for the end of your turn, they all go inside Singularity's pocket dimension again in order for them to be able to build it out, and again the appear powers will trigger again during your next turn. So this will keep your opponent locked in a state wherein they have cards discarded beforehand, and now they cannot draw additional cards for the rest of the game. And as a bonus, of course, if you're able to put, let's say, Nadia together inside the pocket dimension, this also goes the same for Swain. Once you're able to build them out outside the pocket dimension, then again pocket dimension enables you to keep counters on characters once they go inside the pocket dimension. So let's say Nadia at the start has 2+1/+1 counters, so that makes her attack and defense at 3-3. Then once she goes out again of the pocket dimension, again you can exhaust her to add another 2+1/+1 counters on her, so that will make her 5 attack and 5 defense character. If you can keep on doing that for a number of turns, then you can see that you are in with a very powerful 1 cost character with let's say 5 attack, 5 defense, or 7 attack or 7 defense with flight. But you have to understand that she has ferocious, so she gets to be able to strike first before other characters without ferocious. So the same also with Captain Swain, they can grow big once they go in and out of the pocket dimension. And besides that, of course, you have your Leviathans. So as a bonus again, if you're able to squeeze in the Leviathan, the Demolisher, or the Leviathan Beast, and much better if it's together with the Leviathan Twin Drake. Once they belch out of the pocket dimension, then they are able to execute their Comet Fall once they appear. So again, this can that their Comet Fall can come out every turn once they come out of the pocket dimension. So that is really how this Handlock has worked. I think it's been around for some time, but again, we try to revive it here in the Philippines so that we are able to see another meta wherein being a discarder and paralyzing your opponent in a Handlock combo. Let's see what it can do in the next set of tournaments here in the Philippines. So before we go out and bid goodbye, again, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Forge Hobby Place. And Forge Hobby Place is located at Unit B, Velasquez Compound, Naga Road, Ulanlupa 2 in Las Piñas City, Philippines. And we have our weekly tournaments at Forge Hobby Place every Sunday starting at 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock p.m. depending on the time and of course the curfew. And we always have our tournaments held there, leading to the month-ender 24K Gem Duel qualifiers. And we also like to thank our friends from Treats for Them, and that is TREATS number 4 THEM, that is Treats for Them. You can visit their website at www.treatsforthem.com, or you may download the mobile app at Google Play Store. And of course, we'd also like to thank our friends from BS2PCG Collective. Thank you very much to our friends Benjamin Brosin, Mr. Joe Vitelli, and Ralph Edwards III. So once again guys, I hope you like our video and you like how we have discussed and explained how to build the Helmut Handlock combo deck. And till next time, we hope to see you once again in another episode of BS2PCG Deck Forger.